All right, so let's keep moving forward here and let's kind of kick this thing into high gear because this is where things start getting a little complicated. So basically what I think happens is when you're working in Reaper and or whatever DAW, you don't have to use necessarily Reaper for this, but whatever DAW you're working in, that's where all the creative content editing, like audio editing, that kind of stuff is going to be happening. And it's that's going to be the bulk of your work. And that's the creative side of it. From here out is really like the technical stuff, and it's unfortunately it's really technical and it's really a pain in the butt. I actually between that last video and this one, I had to do a lot of stuff. I thought I had it licked, and I kind of got caught up on some snags. So I wrote up a quick little guide for you to try and kind of make this things a little bit easier. But that said, it's complicated, but it's nothing outside of your skill set. We should be able to pull this off. So what I need to do real quick is go back into Reaper and rebounce this down because I actually accidentally lost the thing I was working on, the output of it. But I also want to recap and show a couple things here. So when we want to export this thing or render it, basically, we have the ability, which I thought was really cool here, is you have the ability to do this to the primary output and a secondary output. And the truth is what we're doing is we're actually going to an AAC format. So I was trying to, and I couldn't get this thing to work, but I think it should be noted. I'm gonna spend some time on it. And I want you to take a look at this too. But we could go here at if we went with our basic wave at 16-bit 4-channel output, we don't need to do anything else with it. I said don't write the BWF chunks or any of that kind of thing, and we're good to go at that point. But the truth is we actually need to do transcode into AAC. So it would be nice if we could actually do it. And actually one of the things, if you're actually going to be editing the file, or if you get a really, really high res file and you want to change something, you actually have the ability to do some of that here. So I do have the ability to do like an MPEG output right here. So you could actually export this, but you have to know your frame rates, your size. And so it's a little sketchy to use this thing because it's going to be doing some transcoding, but it's doing H.264. And also, kick out an AAC right here. This one's doing a 128. So you do have the ability to do it that way, but I was like, well, what if we did the subcontainer of doing like a video, or if in this case if we did just a MPEG-4 audio with this is actually what we need is 256 right here, but and then kick out an MP4, but it doesn't seem to work for me. So I'm not entirely sure why it's not working, but I'll just leave that on there. But the cool thing is you do have the ability. If I can get this to work, that would be the preferred way. Just it's going to be one less step to do this in FFmpeg. Or if you're working in another DAW that has the capability of converting to AAC. So that would be certainly a possibility. So let's just leave this as it is. I'm going to call this, I'm going to render these to, right now I've got it on my desktop right here. So this is the original the trains folder. I'm going to make a new folder called I don't know, let's call this one renders folder, so that I don't get too confused, even though I probably still will. Directory browse. Let's go up a directory from this one. Oops, not that. Renders. All right, I'm going to call this one, let's see, train one. Let's call this one first order. Well, that's one first order. That's a tough one. Let's just do this one. It's called spatial. Tray one spatial. That's fine. Cool. And yeah, it doesn't seem to work. When I hit the render file here, it doesn't seem to work that well. All right, let's delete this and let's try this over. So let's just do nothing on this one. I don't know why that's not working. It's bumming me out, but whatever. Cool. So I have the test one spatial. So now what we want to do is, let's just talk real quick about the process here. So what we want to do is we want to take the original, the highest quality video file that we have, and then I want to replace the audio with this one in here, and then I want to upload that to YouTube. And but there's a couple other steps that need to happen there. So let's take a look at this first. So I wrote up this this quick doc right here. FFmpeg 360 video and 360 spatial audio guide. So I'll open that up. Let's just, oh, come on. I hate it that it does that. There it is. Not that one. Oh, come on. Okay. So we want to export our time synced first order B format track from Reaper or other DAW at 16-bit. I want to convert it to AAC in an MP4 and put it into an MP4 container. So AAC, if you recall, AACs can't live on their own. They can't. They have to be inside of a container. So AAC is going to be the audio codec, and then H.264 is going to be the video codec. And then that last, a couple of videos ago, we switched to DNX HD as a different codec for video. But to be clear, that codec is for monitoring only when you're using an external video external video player from your DAW, or when you're using, anytime you're using a DAW. DNX HD tends to be the preferred format these days, but H.264 is the preferred method for YouTube. So good to know on that one. So we're gonna keep that H.264. So in other words, we keep the original file. If you're not given an H.264, if you're given something else, you want to convert it back or to an H.264 for YouTube. And then what we're going to do is we're going to convert the audio to AAC in an MP4 container, replace the audio file into the video file, and then add YouTube metadata. This is clutch, and we'll go through that process, and then upload away for it to process. This is actually a surprisingly long thing to do. So there's a link right here that says preparing your stuff for YouTube. So this is, again, the container it wants to use is the MP4. The audio codec is AAC-LC. Just AAC is fine. So they're saying stereo or stereo plus 5.1, which is interesting. So you can actually do 5.1. I didn't know this on YouTube. You can actually upload 2 tracks, and I'm not entirely sure how they do that, but you can go all the way up to 96 kilohertz and or 48. So it's recommended that, again, if you're going to be putting stuff on YouTube, you should be doing it at 48 kilohertz, just because otherwise it's going to have to resample it. And it's anytime you have to change anything, it's going to be signal loss. And then the video codec is H.264. You don't have to really worry about any of this stuff. Frame rate, we can be just our normal stuff, 20 up, 30, but you can go higher if you wanted to. Bit rate, we're not really going to concern ourselves with this one too much. We don't really need to transcode anything, so we're just going to leave this one alone. But if you need to look at that you could. And resolution aspect ratio, 16:9. That's what they tend to prefer. So this is down here. It says learn how to use spatial audio, 360 video, and virtual reality video, so your views can do sound in all directions. So if we click on that link, this is the upload the videos with spatial audio tools. So let's take a look at the requirements here. So render out a 360 mono video in DNX HDR, encoding FFmpeg if needed. Actually, I didn't even read this one before. Okay. This is this is essentially what we've gone through and done. But then this is adding the meta tool. So this is the preview thing. I haven't used that one. That's interesting. That's just probably a binaural decoder. And then first order Amazonics, and then they do first order Amazonics with headlock stereo. So this is important. We're going to talk more about this coming up later, but basically you can do a 4-track, or you can do 4-track plus a 2-track. And so the 2-track is for just the headlock stuff, and then this is what we're looking for. So this is what we're going to do right here. We don't have to worry. Well, I guess if you want to look at this, we can. Yeah, I don't think we really need to worry about any of that stuff. So, but that is kind of cool. Let's go back one page on here. Yep. So I think we're good there. So let's move on, and let's talk about doing this. So this is preparing your media from YouTube. It's just on that link. So preparing your audio stream. You want to use the original. Like I said, it's going to be the highest quality one here. So now what we need to do is prepare our audio stream, convert to AAC. So let's use good old FFmpeg for that right here. And what we want to do is let's take a look at what it says here. So it's going to say, well, let's see, where is my FFmpeg? Yep, I'm still on my desktop right now. So I'll do fmpeg. Take the input file, which I'm going to use. Oh, it's under the renders file. I'm going to close this. We don't need this anymore. So there's my test spatial audio wave. I'm going to open it to get my get info just to double check. 4 channels, 48 kilohertz, 16-bit. Cool. We're good with that. Then I'm going to drag that into here because that's the file. That's the input file. and then just follow the recipe here. So it says channel layout. I'm just going to copy and paste that channel strict to, and copy that. So what this is going to do is it's going to convert. So it's saying it's a 4-channel layout. Use the audio codec of AAC at bitrate of 256, strict 2. I'm not entirely sure what those are. That's just something I found. I'm going to stick with it because it works. And then my output file is going to be the same. What I do is I'm going to drag this thing in here, and I'm just going to change the name of this to be MP4. Whoops, output files. Oh, wait, did I do something funny? Strict output file. Let me see what I did here. What did I do? Okay. Oh, yeah, I gotta pay attention. I forgot the -I. So, gotta wait for it to go this all the way up. Yes, I do screw this up a lot. So it says FFmpeg, and I have to use the -I to say the input file. Forgot about that one. There we go. Should go pretty quick. Cool, done. So let's take a look at what we did here. So we went from 9 megabytes up to, or we went from 113 megabytes down to 9 megabytes. That's huge. So that's like a over 10-to-1 compression. So that's a pretty huge amount of space. And so if we look on this one, let's get in the info on this. So it's got, oh, that's the MP4. So it's just a codec of AAC. So it doesn't show anything, the H.264 in there. So that's good. We're looking pretty good now. So now what we need to do is combine the audio and the video stream. So what we want to do is just following, let's look at what they're saying here. FFmpeg-I is the input video, .mp4, and the input audio MP4, channel layout, and saying copy the audio, copy the video, and then it does this -shortest. That means take whichever file is shorter and trim everything to be to that point. So, you know, it basically, if your audio file or your video file is a little bit longer at the end, it's okay. It'll just chop off it'll just take the shortest one and chop off the longer one, and then create an output file one here. So what we need to do is go back in here. And then we want, what was our video file first? So train 1, cool. -I, do our video or audio file. I feel like you could do all this in one FFmpeg step, so you could combine both of these commands into one thing, but I don't want to risk it, and I don't have time for it right now, so I'm just going to just go for it. Then I want to do the channel layout thing again, all the way down here. And I want to send it to the renders folder, so I'm just going to go up a directory. I guess I could just call it this and then just change the name of it. We'll call it Merkle Train .mp4. Oops. I didn't put a space there. Cool. Nice. So what it did there is it just basically, it was really fast because all it did was just copying the audio into this. And if I right click on this and take a look at it, get info. Sure enough, we see that it's the right resolution, AAC H.264, 4 channels of audio. We're looking good. So now we're, at this point, we pretty much have a spatial audio thing, and or spatial audio one. And if I open up with Rico Theta, usually takes a second here, but then it starts playing. Cool, right there. So we have, and with this one, you can't really hear it right now, but, oh, actually you probably can. Is it playing in the headphones? So right now, the audio is playing, but it's not. So it's only in your headphones. You're only going to be hearing the first two of the Amsonic track, so it's not spatial audio yet because we don't have any kind of decoder in there. So we need some sort of binaural decoder, which is typically going to be done at the in YouTube or in Facebook. We're gonna look at we're gonna look at YouTube right now because that's going to be for this project. But you could do the similar kind of thing with Facebook. The cool thing with Facebook actually has the ability to go up to second order, so you can use 9 audio tracks on Facebook. So it actually can go a little bit higher resolution. But for what we're doing, this is going to be just fine. Now, it says adding metadata. So what happens is when you upload this video, if you upload this the way it is right now, it's not understood to be like, it'll just play exactly like it'll play like the stretched out version of this thing. So if we look at it, it's going to look like this. If we upload it to YouTube just as this, and that's not what we want. We want this thing to be wrapped around. So we need to give it some metadata. And it used to be really difficult to do this. You had to go into command line, and as if what we've been doing already isn't hard enough, you'd have to go into command line and do all sorts of crazy stuff and jump through a bunch of hoops. And if you got it wrong, it screwed everything up. So somebody came around and made this cool little tool right here. So the spatial media metadata injector 2.1. And at the very bottom here, you can get that for Mac or for Windows right here. So if you're on Windows, you are going to need to use Python. But you can just install it. If you're on Mac, it's just already built in. But it's super easy to work with. So you should have Python anyway. So you can do all sorts of neat stuff with Python. So I already downloaded it. So it's in my downloads folder here. At the very bottom. Cool. So this is all it is right here. So what I want to do is I have to say I wanted to add the metadata. Say or let's just open the file first. And it's on desktop. Renders. Train. So it says so basically it says it is a spherical 360 video, which it is. This one's not a 3D one. So if you're doing 3D, it actually does a separate one for the left and for the right eye. This is not 3D, so we don't need that. But it says my video has spatial audio, MBX, ACN, SN3D. So basically this is the channel ordering and this is the normalization. So this is MBX. So we say, yes, it does have that. So now it knows to enable the binaural decoder on that. So inject media, and I'll just leave it. I'm just going to leave it as it is. Call it final, or whatever. I hate the word final, but we'll call it injected because it just had it in there. Injected. Now let's call this local train go. Just because. So it's going to copy it over and add a little bit of metadata wrapper into it, and we're good to go. So in this case, it still looks like it looks exactly the same. It's still just the same kind of video file, but it has some special wrapper metadata in with it. So at this point, all we got to do is go to YouTube and upload it. If you've not uploaded to YouTube before, it's pretty easy. Go to YouTube Studio under your profile. And in this case, I'm just going to say create and upload videos. So I'm going to say you just drag the file, upload there. Let me grab the one. It's off desktop. Renders. Go. So I'm not going to go through this because I already did it. But at this point, okay, I'll go through it so you can see the process. So Merkle Train, go, and then no, it's not made for kids. That's all you really need to say. You can change the name if you want to here, and then go to visibility. And this is kind of important for this. You should choose unlisted. Don't really post this one. I mean, you can post it if you want. I don't care. It's my video. It's a piece of crap video, but you can post anything you want up there, and that's fine. And then say save, and it's just gonna go ahead and start uploading this thing. You can actually close this thing and it'll pull it down to the corner here, but I'm going to cancel the upload. It takes a long time. At least mine does. Cancel upload. Because I already did it a couple times before just to check. So if I go to my videos here, and I did you can see I have the 360 injected and short. I did a short version of it. I trimmed it down just to make sure it works because it took forever to upload. So if I just click on, I guess they're both short. I did it twice. So if I click on it, sure enough, it works. And I'm going to throw my headphones on so we can hear it. And I'll pan around a little bit and you'll be able to hear it. pretty good. I think it's kind of neat. I can hear it. And I only have 30 seconds of this video going right now. But it's
we got to do something about this.
It's especially fun if you have the app and you can look around. So if you're looking on it, you can just look around with this thing, and it's pretty stinking cool. So that's really what there is to it. So if the files are big, they take a long time to process. So get them uploading and walk away and just say, just let it do its thing. So that's essentially how you're going to get the files up here. So your job is to take the raw video. You're going to add some sound effects to it. I mean, add some explosions or add some like silliness, or if you want to add more train sounds or footsteps and Foley or music over the top, whatever you want to add. Just you got to add some sort of component to this that's not already there, just to show that you can go through this flow, upload it, and then you're going to give me your private URL. And so with this thing, even though it's private right now, let's get back to mine. You just say share. Just give me that. That's what you need. That's what I want you to send so we can work on this thing. Cool. All right. I know it's a lot. The FFmpeg stuff, it can be annoying. I get it, but it really is worth the investment, because even when I was just now looking around the web for this sort of thing, like just when I was looking for some solutions for some of this stuff, it's like a million people who've never even heard of FFmpeg that are like trying to figure this stuff out. And so you guys already have an advantage that you've been working with this for a little bit. So it's a very useful tool. So I know it's annoying to have to work on the command line stuff, especially when it's just not working right and that you're like, I just don't know what's wrong with it. But hit me up if you have questions about it. We'll try and get you through this. But it's this, having FFmpeg is killer, because it's going to let you do the best quality, the best, most control over everything. So good luck. Cheers.